Hello everyone, and welcome back to another update in our Minecraft Adventure series. Now, this could very well be the last video that we do in this version of the game, and I'll tell you why. So even though I'm very proud of a lot of the progress that we've made here, one of the things that I really wanted to do with this series is be something ongoing, and I think that one of the better iterations to do that in is actually going to be using the PC version, and as of yet I have not found a way to port this version over from my PS4 to the new version that I have for PC. So what I will probably end up doing, well, I already have. I've submitted a support ticket to see if there's any way that we can salvage the progress that we have here. Let's watch the beautiful sunset here for a second. But there's really not anything that, to my knowledge, that I can do at this point in time to kind of salvage the progress that we've had or we've made. That being said, I wouldn't want to abandon this world in its entirety if it can't be ported over or salvaged, as this would serve more of a proof of concept type world more than anything else. Where it's nighttime before we go out on a bit more of an adventure, let's go ahead and hunker down in the bed here, down in the lower section of my base, and then we will kind of give you a tour of what I've done, as I'm quite proud of the progress that I've made up to this point. So that sets our respawn point and allows us to venture back out under cover of daylight. And let's go ahead and take our other horse here, as he hasn't seen a lot of action recently. So, as I mentioned in the last video, sorry, as I try and navigate my way through these trees, but as I mentioned a little bit in the last video, my main priority was setting out to find a village. And I think that out of personal ethics, it's best to leave your villagers free range. And I had a couple of villages that I did end up finding. The first one that I found was actually over here in this desert area, but as you can see, even on approach, it was long since abandoned before we even ever showed up here. So there wasn't really a whole lot to be had there. From there, I continued out, and you'll see this wall that I've built out here. This is a little bit of a pathway out to some more areas that I had found in an effort to search for some villagers to trade with and do other deals for enchantment and just overall progress. So as we get through the remainder of this desert biome area, we do transition back out into grasslands for a moment, which was certainly quite nice of a change of pace there. And as I had been venturing out, I had found yet another village. And when I initially found it, it was fully functional. It was fully operational, stocked with villagers, everything was great. But what I neglected was to take care of or take precautionary measures to protect this village. And so by the time I actually built my pathway back out to it, it had ended up abandoned. I still have to go through and salvage out a lot of the materials here, such as the baled wheat that's stocked up, but I have enough in my inventory. So I kept venturing out further to this portion of the map, and really didn't run into anything too noteworthy. A bit of a different biome here with a swamp type area that was interesting to trek through. But my main priority was finding a village that I could interact with consistently and keeping them mostly free range as well, not having to relocate them or domesticate them in any alternate area. So as we continue riding about here, we're about to the point where we're going to be taking a slight detour over to our right, and it's actually through this final little arch. You'll see that I've got a new bridge set up that comes out this way, and this actually gets us over to the village that I had found And we've got to go about it a little bit of a roundabout way because I haven't fully cleared out the trees and such. But this village, I did go ahead and precautionary box in for their own protection and good. Now, I didn't have to be overly concerned because they do have some iron golems running around in here. But none of these villagers are really initially anything super noteworthy. So let's go ahead and hop off of my horse here, get him tied up to the city center. There we are. So now this will leave us free to walk around a little bit. And got a villager over here, one of our farmers. So I don't think I have anything that he's really looking for. I actually have some potatoes. Problem is I don't have enough at this point to trade with him and get any emeralds out of him. And he's not looking to accept anything else. I've got nice pumpkins that I could trade with him if I had him up at that level 2 apprentice level. But I've got to get more potatoes before I can trade with this particular farmer. I don't think that there's any other... Well, there were a couple of other farmers running around. But I would like to eventually get something put together where I can start training up librarians and other types of villagers. Actually, this guy is a leather worker, which I don't have a whole lot of leather even back at my home base, but good to know that I have one of him running around as well. Nothing further in here. There's a bunch of bread, I guess. But even at that, the other guy was asking for emeralds in exchange for bread. So we'll go ahead and leave those there for the time being. Yeah, I know it doesn't really matter if you take the objects, as villagers don't get upset about that as much as the pigmen in the nether do. But, you know, it's something to keep in mind. Now, I always see these guys in the green shirts, and I think that they are... you know, some sort of special villager, but they're not. But they catch my eye because they just have a different appearance. And that's the same farmer that we tried interacting with a moment before. And there are a couple of houses up there on the hillside as well, but really nothing super interesting when I ventured up that way, and it's not exactly easy to access either. So it just seems to be more trouble than it's worth, all things considered. Actually, let's see if we can get a couple of these potatoes, because that'll get me over the threshold to make at least one trade with this villager. And actually, I think there was a chest over here that had an emerald in it when I was in here earlier today. I think it's this one. Yep, there's an emerald in there. So if we trade with this farmer, let's see what we can end up with. See, you see one of the iron golems running around in here. So let's go ahead and run a trade with this farmer. And unfortunately, that's not quite enough for him to get to his second level or second tier there, which is unfortunate because I've got a lot of pumpkins that I'd like to sell off to this guy. And I don't think that I currently have any bone meal in my inventory, but which I don't. A little unfortunate, but I know I've got plenty back at home, so I could easily train up, or not train up, but trade up this villager after doing some brief resource farming. But this is just kind of an update as to where I am and what I've ended up with. If I were to ring any of these bells, I discovered that the villagers run off in a bit of a panic. And it's kind of funny to watch, but I won't subject them to that here in front of everyone. So that's kind of where I'm at in the series so far. Let me know what you think in the comments down below, if there's any progress that I should make. Again, I will probably start a new world from scratch over on the PC version, providing that I don't get any help or assistance in porting this version over. But at the end of the day, it is what it is, and we'll continue to progress and have some fun with this and work out some proofs of concept at the very least in this world. So thanks again for watching. If you haven't already, please make sure you just subscribe using the button down below. Subscriptions are free and easy, and they really help me out. Don't forget to drop a like on the video if you enjoyed, and we will catch you in the next one. Take care.